One of the most common questions I have from patients is, why are my gums receding? Is it because I'm getting older and my dentist keeps telling me that my gums are receding, and what do I do about that? One of the first things I tell patients is really gum recession is always a condition, it's always an unusual or unhealthy condition. Gums don't recede on their own just when they're healthy, so it's not just a sign of aging, and many times it's actually a kind of a precursor or a biologic kind of a predetermination, and it's somewhat of a genetic factor in the fact that your mom and dad may have had it, and what's happening is your tissue has a certain thickness, and some people that have thin tissue are prone to recession, and that recession begins to make things unstable over time. Probably the most classic person I see is a younger person having orthodontics that's going to have really thin gum tissue on the bottom, and as they're having their teeth move, they notice that gum tissue is beginning to pull away from their bottom teeth, and the orthodontist will many times stop and ask us to evaluate that patient and ask us what's going on, and they know that they were experiencing recession where they hoped they wouldn't. And many times it wasn't because the orthodontic treatment was incorrect. Many times it's the biology of that tissue just was too thin and it can't withstand the forces of the orthodontic tooth movement. So one good example would be people that would have gum grafting or gums that were kind of enhanced in an area to prevent that recession from progressing. Then they can simply finish their orthodontic treatment without any further disease. When you see gum recession, what we try to do for patients is to really help them figure out, why is it happening, and how do you prevent it? How can you treat it if it needs to be treated? Years ago, when toothbrushes were pretty firm and toothpaste was pretty abrasive, you can do some damaging things to your gums, but I don't see a lot of toothbrush abrasion. I see more of the fact that, by the time you're in your 30s, that thinner tissue has a tendency of showing its colors per se, and you start seeing some of the ramifications of that thin tissue. And quite frankly, that thin tissue had always been like that. It's just gotten worse as you've gotten older. So you could stop it. You could literally transplant gum tissue in a variety of ways. You can use your own tissue and transplant healthier tissue around your teeth. You can even use other sources of tissue. It's not uncommon nowadays to use pig tissue to transplant around your teeth, just like people have heart valves that are transplanted from pig valves. It's not uncommon for periodontists to actually use that healthy connective tissue, which is what we need, to put that around our teeth to help our gums become healthier and more stable, and you can actually stop that. One of the greatest things that I can do for people is tissue grafting or a procedure like that, because it's probably the most predictable thing we can do for patients, because it doesn't have to do with an infection, it doesn't have to do with bacteria. It's literally just kind of a genetic predetermined condition that happens over time, but it's highly correctable. Some of the questions people ask me about whether they should have recession treated is whether they can lose a tooth from recession. And in my profession, I do see people who have had so much gum loss and bone loss that they do wind up losing their teeth because that gum and bone has receded so far, the teeth become unstable and need to be removed. So I do warn people that kind of untreated progressive recession really can lead to tooth loss. That would be kind of the worst scenario in that situation. Some people come in because their teeth become sensitive, they become hot and cold sensitive. If we do grafts or transplant tissue where we can cover the roots of those teeth up again, which many times we're highly successful in doing that, that root sensitivity many times will go away as well. So probably one of the things people benefit the greatest from is their teeth no longer become sensitive, because now what used to be exposed to their mouth is now covered with healthy gum tissue again.